Alright, what's up guys, I'm Death by Hacks, and today we have a Pokemon X and Y NU Wi-Fi battle. Now, as you can see by looking at the teams, we do not have really serious teams. And that's not how I like to play generally, because really serious teams make the game less fun. But either way, when both of us have teams that are pretty fun, then it makes the game much more interesting in my opinion. So, let's go ahead and see how it turned out. So, I'm going to go ahead and be leading out with my Behem as he leads out with Rotom. So, this is not the greatest matchup in the world for me because Rotom can obviously Shadow Ball me, although despite him being able to Shadow Ball me, I definitely should have stayed in here, and you guys will see why in a second. I'm going to go ahead and go out in my Miltank, predicting the Shadow Ball, and he's going to go ahead and go for a Volt Switch here. And Volt Switch is going to pop my Citrus Berry, and that's going to bring me up to 143 health, which is nice because that means there's not much that can OHKO Miltank from where it is, except for like a fighting type move, and he doesn't have any fighting types on his team, so we have nothing to worry about there. He's going to go ahead and go into his Archeops, and Archeops is going to go for a Sky Attack, and this was a little irritating, because as he goes for Sky Attack, I am going to live it at 1 HP, but he does flinch me, so he's going to go ahead and go for the Acrobatics now, and that's going to kill me off. Anyways, that was a little annoying. It didn't matter. It didn't end up mattering too much. Had I gone for my move, which is going to be Milk Drink, in case you're wondering, I would have gone up to about half HP, and then he would have head smashed me and killed me. Anyways, I go out on my Sneasel because I know I can Ice Punch it and outspeed it. He switches out into his physically defensive Prinplup. Right here, I definitely should have gone for a knockoff because I knew he was going to go into this. But what can you do? Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go out my Behem now because I know that it's physically defensive based on how much that took, so I can go ahead and Thunderbolt this, and Thunderbolt will end up doing quite a bit to this. He is faster than me, which is nice because that means I can get the analytic boost. We're going to go ahead and hit him with a Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt's going to bring him down to a very low amount of HP. Man, I cannot talk right now. He's going to go ahead and go for a Rest, and I thought maybe he'd be a Rest Toxicet or something, but that doesn't turn out what he's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Psyshock here, which is really questionable. I probably should have just gone for a Thunderbolt, because there's nothing on his team that resists Thunderbolt. Anyways, now he goes out into his Togetic, and I actually should have gone for another Psyshock, because Psyshock does more to Togetic, and had I gone for two, it would have knocked out Togetic potentially, whereas a Thunderbolt and a Psyshock will not knock him out potentially. So he's going to live with a very small amount of HP, and he's going to go ahead and get the Heal Bell off, so that paralysis did not actually end up mattering in the end. Anyways, right here, I'm going to speed it up a little bit, because this is a bit of a stall war, and I didn't want to have just a minute of video be nothing but him roosting and me going for attacks. So, eventually, he's going to go ahead and go for a Toxic, I believe it this turn, and that's going to be pretty much the end of the stall war because I go for another Psyshock. He ends up living with like 1 HP, and now I'm going to go ahead and outspeed him and go for the Psychic. So that is going to be the end of the Togetic, thankfully, because that thing was annoying. Had I have just gone for a Psyshock the first turn when he switched in, it would have ended up dying. So now he's going to go out into Rotom, and this time I have no reason to stay in because I definitely can't live a Shadow Ball with that amount of HP. I'm going to go ahead and go in my Sneasel because regardless of what he does, I know I can live a hit even if he Volt Switched. And if he is Scarfed, then I won't outbeat him, but he won't be doing any damage to me at all. So I can go ahead and knock off. Seeing how much he did, I knew he was Specs, and just to confirm it, it says that he was Specs right there. Now he's going to go ahead and go out into his Prinplup, and I knew I couldn't OHKO this with a knockoff. So I am going to go ahead and go out into my Leafeon, as well as Leafeon has Heal Bell, so I can get the Toxic off of my Behem. He's going to go for a Scald here, and luckily he doesn't get a burn, although it wouldn't have mattered too much, because I am going to go for a Heal Bell next turn anyways. He would have just gotten off a little bit more residual. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Heal Bell here, get the Toxic off of Behem, which Behem definitely enjoys because it doesn't want to be statused, you know. So he's going to go ahead and go for an Ice Beam here, and that's going to do a massive amount of damage. I wonder if this is fully offensive, like 3 attacks and then rest, but it's still a defensive wall, or what, because he didn't ever set up Stealth Rocks. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go at my Behem now, as he goes for an Ice Beam, which is nice, because I know Behem can obviously take an Ice Beam easier than a Scald, considering it's not Stab, although he ends up getting a crit, and now he's going to go for a Scald, and he does get a burn. I'm not so mad about the burn, but the crit might have mattered. I know both of them in combination mattered for sure, but it's just, the reason I'm not mad about the burn is because he got 2 Scalds earlier with that burn, and generally you get a burn with Scald within 3 tries, because it's 30% chance, and that's 90. Those are roughly. So, anyways, now he's going to go ahead and go into Swalot, and I don't want to switch out here because Behemoth will not be useful later on, seeing as it's not faster than, like, anything. And, I don't know, maybe he would go for, like, a stockpile, predicting me to switch anyways. I'm going to go ahead and go out my Semi-Seer now because I am Specs, and I know I can hit that thing really hard. He's going to go out and use Archeops, which does resist this Flamethrower, and he does outspeed me, unfortunately, but on the bright side, I do bring him down to the point where he is in defeatist range, so he's not going to be doing, like, any damage. I'm going to go ahead and go out into my Leafeon, and Leafeon can take whatever hit he wants to go for, and I'm not actually bringing Leafeon in to take hits. I'm bringing it in to die so I can get a free switch into Sneasel, and then Sneasel will be able to outspeed it and kill it. He's going to go for an acrobatics here, and that will end up killing me. So that's going to be the end of Plant, unfortunately. So now I'm going to go ahead and go out into my Sneasel, and Sneasel will be able to go ahead and just go for a knockoff here. You might be wondering why I went for a knockoff over Ice Punch. One, I knew it would kill, as well as two, nothing wanted to take a knockoff. Like, Jinx might have taken an Ice Punch, and knockoff is actually more base power when they still have an item, and both of them still have their items. I'm going to go ahead and go out into Dustox now, because generally these are special. His turns out to be physical, and I believe it's Assault Vest too, which is fantastic, because that is a cool set. So he goes for a Gunk Shot, and that's going to do quite a bit of damage. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go for a Bug Buzz here, which may seem like it doesn't matter too much, but he does reveal to me, by me doing this, that he is Assault Vest because he doesn't have any leftovers, which you guys will see in a second. He's going to go ahead and go for a Fire Punch and kill me off, which is perfectly okay with me, because Dustox was just death fodder. I'm going to go ahead and go out into Steve now, and I did a damage calc, and I figured out that I can take any one hit, whether it be an Earthquake or a Gunk Shot, or whatever. He is going to go ahead and go for an Earthquake, and I live this with just a sliver of HP. Man, wow, that was just a combination of me not being able to talk. Anyways, I go for another Flamethrower, and that kills him off, which surprised me, because it didn't look like it would. Now he's going to go out into Jinx, and turns out he is a Scarfed Jinx, so that is going to be the end of the game, essentially, because my last hope was him missing a Focus Blast, and I actually kind of didn't want him to, because he pretty much earned this victory. There was a little bit of hacks here and there, but none of it really mattered too much. I'm pretty sure it would have always turned out the same, because like I said, he did have Head Smash on the Archeops, and the little crits here and there didn't end up mattering too much. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time, and until then, alright, peace.